Guys, hey, morning.
Hunter, welcome back. It's been 8 months at this point, so I'm just curious. Did you need some time off? Because knowing you, I know that you probably would have been back like the next week if you could have.
I did not need any time off, and if anyone's listening, Sean Shelby or anybody else, please God, don't give me any more time off. I didn't need time off then. I don't need time off now. I want to stay as active as possible for anybody listening. I just want to fight like 4 or 5 times a year. I'd fight every 2 months if I could.
Is it tough for you to survive without fighting? I mean, is it difficult for you to stay focused, or is it just tough?
It's not difficult. It's not difficult to stay focused. I'm just entering my prime as an athlete and as a adult man, and I want to put on performances. I love fighting. I love fist fighting, and I'm an adult now. I got a mortgage to pay. I'm trying to get paid, bro. I just love to fight. I love to put on a show. I really love fighting, and doing it twice a year, it doesn't do it for me. I really want to be more active, and it's been frustrating. I don't really know what to do to make that happen. I've come off big wins and been gone for 6 months, and I've come off tough losses and been gone for 6 months. I don't really know what the recipe is because I see guys that get to fight every 3 weeks or something. Like, I want to be one of those guys, but after this win Saturday, hopefully then I get to jump right back in.
Nice. You talk about frustrating losses, last one out. Any lessons you can take out of it or things you can take to improve your career? I mean, obviously a talented guy.
Yeah, tough dude. Bryce Mitchell's a tough dude. He had a good game plan. A lot of lessons to take from that. Worked with my wrestling coach, Danny Castillo, a bunch on fixing some bad habits, which I think is what lost me the fight. I go back and watch that fight, and it's frustrating because I didn't get beat up. I look at that fight. You watch the end of that fight, and I get up sorry guys, shrug my shoulders. He gets up with blood all over his face, like he just went through a horror movie. I feel like I did the damage, and I don't think you'll ever see me in a fight where I get really beat up or where I don't do damage to my opponent or I don't win the actual fight. But he played a better game than me, and hats off to him. It's a frustrating fight because I left the cage feeling like I didn't actually get to fight. I felt warmed up, felt ready to go. Was all right, he got me, took me down, held me down a little bit. All right, let's fight now. Let's go for real. But it's that's all you get is those 15 minutes. So a lot of lessons to be learned, and excited to come back better. And I never had a boring fight, and I've never really fought anybody who's a slouch. I've never had a give me fight in the UFC. So tough opponents, tough losses, but I've had some big wins too, and I'm just excited to come back and be better.
Nice. Like I said, you're a guy that's in exciting fights. Daniel Pineda, a guy that's been in exciting fights. When this was the matchup, I know you probably would have taken anybody, but did this one appeal to you? Because on paper, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys get up here and they try to downplay their opponent. He's never seen anyone like me. He's blah, blah. When I look at Daniel Pineda, I know killers recognize killers. I know who he is. I've never met him before, and I know who he is. He's dangerous. And that's good because it brings out the most dangerous side of me. And I'm more dangerous than he is. I think I'm more dangerous than anybody in this division, and I'm excited to prove it. So a matchup like this, it brings out the best of me.
Nice. I know you have goals of being a world champion, and that's where you want to be. But, I mean, do you take any solace in where you stand, that you have a reputation that, people know if you're in there, we're getting a fight?
Yeah. It's not something I want to hang my hat on. I don't like to hold on to small victories, I almost did this, or that's not really my style, but it is. I take pride in the fact that people know when I'm in a fight, it's not going to be boring. It's going to be exciting, and people are going to be on their feet, and people are going to be yelling and screaming. There's going to be blood and screaming, and it's going to be a fight, right? At the highest level, you have to play the game a little bit, but for me, I take pride in not playing the game of MMA as much as actually going and getting in a fight and winning a fight and seeing who's the better fighter. And there's a couple people that are still like that in the sport who are real fighters, and I take pride in being one of them. For sure.
Yeah. You talk about playing the game a little bit. I mean, staying active. Do you think it's calling people out? Do you think it's having something on the mic when you get done and knowing exactly the name to call?
I don't know. Maybe I think for a guy who's been in fist fights since he was 14 years old, I'm pretty eloquent. I feel like I communicate pretty effectively. I'm good on a mic. Maybe I just got to start calling people out or saying a bunch of corny shit, because I see dudes doing a bunch of corny shit that gets a bunch of attention. I can't do it. I can't sell my soul. Like I can't do corny shit consistently over and over just to get retweets and attention and whatever. I don't know. I don't know what I got to do. I thought that getting in exciting fights would be enough to get me back in here every 2 or 3 months, but yeah, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm just going to keep doing what I do and get better at it. And the real will always shine through. I think the real will outlast the fake.
No doubt. Last thing for me, I mean, you said you know exactly what you're in for, what kind of guy is there. So what's the goal? I mean, obviously you want to walk away with a win, but I mean, is it going there and dominate somebody and shut them down, or is it going there and put on one of those wars that people like? I mean, what's the goal for you?
I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think you can do both. I think you can put on a fight of the night and a performance of the night in the same fight. I'm here for 3 checks. Period. I'm here for 3 checks. I'm here for my show money, my win money, and some bonus money, and that's that. Yeah.
So you don't have to name any names, but give me an example of the corniest shit that's in your mind recently, or name names.
I'll give you an example. I have a huge respect. I have a huge deal of respect for what Logan and Jake Paul have done. What Logan and Jake Paul have done in the short amount of time with the very small amount of combat sports experience they have. I respect the way they self-promote. Like that's. I respect the way they do that. They also really take a deep step into cornball territory. And to play devil's advocate, because they do corny shit, in response, a bunch of MMA fighters do corny shit. Like, I see people who have I see people where it's just like, damn well you're not going to get the Logan Paul fight. But you're on Twitter like, fucking just everything I can say to try to respond to this guy. Like, it's like corny shit, and then it breeds more corny shit, and then we have a bunch of random people in the street going, oh, how do you feel about this fight with a fucking guy that doesn't fight? You're like, it's just like, bro, we've forgot what fighting is. Like, there's so much corny shit. So I see it from guys in the MMA community. I see it from guys in the boxing community. It's like become more about hype than about fight, and that's the opposite of me. I like hype. I like hype, but I also like fighting too, like real fighting too. And I don't know. I just think there's a culture. Fighting will always be a fucking circus. Like, it'll always be. You can do whatever sponsors and whatever uniforms and whatever you want, but it'll always be a little bit real sport and a little bit pro wrestling, and that's what's beautiful about it. But sometimes the pro wrestling, sometimes the gimmick side of the sport takes over, and I think that's happened a lot recently.
Does that only get reset when those two get knocked out, do you think? Not reset, it's always going to be around, but maybe put back into...
I don't know. I don't wish them any ill will. Dude, keep doing... Like, those kids are making a lot of money. Good for them. I don't hate on any man. Do your thing. Make a bunch of money. I think it's one of those things, like, fighting is an art, and art evolves, right? I love hip-hop, and I've listened to hip-hop since I was a little kid, just as an example. And every generation, the generation before goes, oh, this is trash. This is trash. This is trash. But there's good hip hop and there's trash hip hop from the time it started until now, right? It's the same as this. This is an art form. There's going to be cultural shifts. We're in one right now where people talk more than fight, and people do stupid antics on YouTube videos and do this and call out people they know damn well they're not going to fight. It's just kind of where we're at in this stage of our art form, you know what I mean?
So we just need a Twitter cap. Some people only get to tweet 3 times a week and have to use it really properly. You mentioned about not being able to fight regularly. Is that the biggest downside of this career? You get to do what you love maybe 3 times a year if you're lucky. Is that the biggest downside to this?
Yeah, 100%. I'm turning into a real adult finally. I bought a house. I'm doing this. I want to start having a family in the next couple of years, and my girlfriend owns a business, and we were doing our taxes and we're comparing our QuickBooks, and she's got she's got a paycheck every 2 weeks, and then I show her mine. I'm like, this is why fighting is stressful. This is why fighting is stressful, because I have 3 fucking paydays in a whole fiscal year. Yeah. Right? And they jump up high for sure. Thank God. I make good money now, and I'm thankful for it. But there's only 3 on the Excel spreadsheet. It's a pretty simple one. It's literally 3 ticks. Like, I got paid in January, I got paid on Halloween, and I'm gonna get paid 3 checks on Saturday. Like for that, if you talk to a regular person and go, hey, I haven't had a real paycheck since Halloween night and it's the start of summer. Like that's fucking stressful. You know what I mean? I grew up in the sport, so I feel like I manage it pretty well. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a few more of those blips on the radar when I do my taxes at the end of the year, not just 3 paychecks. The paychecks get bigger. Thankful for that. But, getting paid 3 times a year and getting to perform 3 times a year. And for me, I'm like, I want to cement a legacy. I still think of myself as a guy who could be a household name, like could really be one of the greatest to ever do this. And I have that self-belief, and I think you need that to be a good fighter. But to be able to do that, I got to capitalize on these opportunities. If there's only win, lose, or draw, if you're only fighting 3 times a year, it's hard to do that, So I really want to be more active. Yeah.
Is the answer to that just being one of those guys who takes a fight on a week's notice every time, like the Kevin Hollands of the world who just show up whenever?
I don't know. I mean, Kevin Holland did a really good job this past year. Like, shout out to him, man. He really did a good job of getting himself in the cage, and he made a bunch of money and made a real name for himself. I don't know. It worked out for him mostly, but for every Kevin Holland, you've seen a lot of guys who it didn't work out for, taking short notice fights. I've seen a lot of guys who are really talented take not smart fights with not enough time to prepare and cut their career short. So it's a tricky thing. I don't think the older I get, the more I realize, like, for most of these things, there's not a one size fits all answer, right? You have to really know yourself and know your situation. And I don't think I don't think for me, taking a fight every week is the smart thing. I think for me, taking a fight every 2 or 3 months against exciting opponents that people get hyped about, like this is the answer. That's my answer.
Cool. Last one from me. Big fight coming up. Conor versus Dustin 3. How does it go? Break it down.
When Conor and Dustin fight, I will be in my backyard getting drunk with my friends, and I'll be watching the fight like a fan. I have a lot of respect for both those guys. I'm not really a guy that makes predictions. I'm focused on my fight. I'm going to win my fight. That's it. By the time I watch, especially guys who aren't on my team, like a big fight like Conor and Dustin, I'm going to be in my backyard or on my couch watching it, just as excited as everybody else. Like, yeah, I have a great deal of respect for what Conor's done in this sport. Like, I really, really respect Conor. Like, he's high tide raises all ships. He's done a lot for the sport. Dustin is a dude that I have a great deal of respect for because he's a fighter's fighter. When I look at that dude, I'm like, nothing given, everything earned. He's a fucking man. Like, he's battled his way through the sport, and actually is inspiring to me because it took him. He took the long road to a belt. He took the long road to being a household name. And that's something I think my career is sort of following that same path. So I like both. I know it's not the answer you're looking for, but I like both dudes, and I hope both dudes get a big fat fucking paycheck and fight 5 more times, whatever. Like, I just want the best for guys like that. Like, say whatever you want about Conor, say whatever you want about Dustin. They're both real fighters, and I hope they get all the money in the world from fighting. Like, I just wish them the best.